Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillah, salatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Okay, so today inshallah we're going to have some, you can say, extras about Banu Qurayza. Something maybe just we have missed in the previous lecture. So just to make the point completed. First of all, I think it's one of the most common topics for the Orientalists to criticize Islam, am I right? Okay, so let's forget about Islam and forget about Judaism and forget about everything else. Okay, just let's go back to that time. Okay, and the story is very famous. We did explain it here. Okay, so big army of Banu Ghatafan, Quraysh, all of them coming. Okay, and then Abu Sufyan with his leaders of Banu Qurayza and Quraysh, all of them coming to Banu Qurayza, okay, just to convince them that they should help the Banu Qurayza should help the Banu Qurayza and Qurayshis to finish off Muhammad and his people. Okay, so then let's suppose that whatever happened, forget about that, and what would happen if it would be other way around? So if Allah wouldn't send that wind, strong wind, to get rid of all of the Banu Ghatafan, just to send them back to their places, but other way around would happen. They would conquer Medina. What exactly would happen?
Because the plan was to totally finish off the Muslims.
Finish off the Muslims, yeah. So it's very obvious. They wouldn't come to give roses to Muhammad and his people. Am I right? It's quite obvious that they were coming to finish off them. Okay, as well as Banu Qurayza, they actually agreed to help Banu Ghatafan and others. Okay, and then it's very famous that in Judaism, it's written, it is even in their gospel, I don't know how do they call the second gospel, do you know, Torah? The second testament,
Genesis, Exodus, I think.
Yes, so it is in Arabic, Sifr al-Tathniya. Okay, Tathniya to Tashri' actually. Okay, so in the verse number 10:18, so 10:1-8, it says that when you will come to when you come to attack some city, okay, so first call them for it's very famous. Okay, but if they do not accept nothing, so then go and conquer and finish off all of male, and their kids and their women are actually booty. Okay,
and animals and all
everything, and take them all just for your booty actually. Okay, just for yourself. Okay, so that would be from Banu Qurayza side. But what about Banu Ghatafan and Qurayshis who never followed any religion? They wouldn't care about anything. There is no any prohibition for them. Okay, they were coming to take revenge for Lat, Uzza and Manat and all of them idols, as well as for their sake, because Medina is growing. There is enmity, there is envy, so they wouldn't look. Okay, so for example, Banu Qurayza, their religion allowed them to finish off all of the male. Okay, but women, it's just booty. But what about Quraysh and Banu Ghatafan? There is no any prohibition. Do whatever you want.
Right. So that was the culture of the Arabs.
Of course, they did not have any prohibition.
Right. So they could even kill women.
They could do anything. They could do anything. And normally, it's very famous in Quraysh side before Rasulullah came. Any like booty, any women that taken as a booty, they would be under the supervision, or for example, in the position of some of the rich people. For example, Abu Sufyan in that time, and he would use them in the public houses, just to get the money.
Like prostitution.
Prostitution. It is prostitution. Okay. Yeah. So then Rasulullah came and then stopped that type of things. Okay. So that what would happen. Okay. So then, but unfortunately, okay, for the Banu Ghatafan, the war was not for their sake. I mean, for their favor. So I mean, just it went upside down. Okay. So then, so it's like maybe I would understand the Orientalists if a prophet would go to Mecca by himself with no any reason to do this. But what about enemy is coming? Okay, enemy is coming, and some tribe just next to you, they are helping them to get rid of Muhammad and whatever in there. Okay, so in there, people of Medina, they have been oppressed. The oppressed person, the one who to whom army is coming to, for example, attack, they have a right to defend themselves anyhow they can. Okay, and the people, Banu Qurayza, who cheated them once, okay, there is no any guarantee that they will not do it again and again and again. Okay, so it was very just actually a response from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, as well as, for example, let's suppose that I'm British citizen, for example, okay, and then I did. There are some certain things which will be classified as, you can say, the top crime. Okay, for example, let's go to America. Okay, for example, if they find the spies, okay, what will happen to the spies? They will not get roses with the benefit, you know, child benefit, and they will never get that. There is that crime is just murder. Or let's say that I'm American citizen, okay, and then I will bring some army, Soviet Union army, to invade into America. After America finishing off Soviet Union, they will not say to you, oh, mashallah, good, you know, and I'm Obama, you did very well, mashallah, you're Banu Qurayza. They will never say that. They will straight away kill me. It's very just, you know. But then it's like from nothing to make big issue. Okay, but unfortunately people, they do not look into the main content of the issue. But for them, just entertaining is the most important thing. Okay, so it was very just revenge actually. Some citizens of the same country making an agreement with invaders to support them from inside. Their punishment is more like being just executing, you can say. Okay, so it's very obvious. So it shouldn't cause any problem. Okay, but they should Orientalists, they can only use it only on one way, showing that Muhammad was very intelligent person. Okay, not like a soft and coward, you know. Saying, oh, mashallah, you did once, but please do not do it, I beg you for the sake of Jesus. It's not that, but he was very intelligent and brave also. Okay, so there is no any other way of using this story. Okay, so that's from one side. And from the other side, if you know, when Rasulullah migrated to Medina, okay, there was wathiqa, agreement, okay, which was signed, which was accepted. So it is long list of things, okay, and in there it was all of the tribes were mentioned, okay, from Aus and Khazraj, as well as Banu Qurayza and Banu Nadir, all of the Jewish and Arabian Khazraj, all of them tribes were mentioned, saying that all of them are one. Okay, we take benefit of anything, we take benefit of all together, and any enemy of any tribe who will come to invade that tribe, we defend all together. Okay, so war of Banu Qurayza is war of Muhajirs and Ansar, and war of Muhajirs and Ansar, war of Banu Qurayza, and each single tribe is mentioned in them. Right. Okay, so and also the long list of the agreement is actually is very famous. It could be found in authentic sources. It's everywhere. Okay, even in translated sources, I do believe that it is there. So, for example, Ibn Ishaq, his book is translated. Am I right? Ibn Hisham's book is translated into English, so you can find. So just first maybe chapters of the migration. Straight after migration, what happened? You will find that agreement between Muhajirs, Ansar, and Jews. You find it there. Okay, and breach of agreement, especially breach of agreement which causes, you can say, finishing whole of nation, it will not be rewarded by roses. Never. It never happened. So it was very just. There is nothing that anyone can catch on this story. Okay, so it's just as well as if you remember, there was a question about what happened to the Banu Qurayza, if they haven't been finished off, so what happened to them? Okay, so actually I found some of the texts which speak about the Banu Qurayza. So anyway, so it is actually in Waqidi. Okay, it is Waqidi, one of the he has got a book, historic book called Al-Maghazi. Okay, so it is Waqidi mentions, as well as Ibn Ishaq did mention few you can say stories about what happened to these people. So then the first is Rasulullah ﷺ has sent some group of the Banu Qurayza, which is left over after the revenge. So it is mainly kids and the women. Okay, to be sold. So they have been sent to Sham. Okay, so Busra it was the center of a trading. So to be sold in there. Okay, and then as for the fees of whatever is taken from them, so to be bought some weapons. Weapons, yes. So it is, as well as Uthman bin Affan and Abdul Rahman bin Auf, both of them bought a big number of slaves.
Right.
Okay, from them. Okay, and they remained in Medina. Okay, so some group went to Sham and some group remained in Medina. As well as so because if you know even Muhammad al-Quradi, so he was descendant of these ones, okay, who did remain in Medina. Afterward they were sent, okay, so to Iraq, but it's one of those who and anyway also there was some lady Quradiyya, her name is Rayhana bint Amr bin Khunafa. So she accepted Islam, okay, so she became Muslim, and then she actually married off herself to Rasulullah ﷺ. Okay, well, and actually she did decided that by herself. Okay, so there was no any force. So then there are two sources. Some in one source it says that I'm sorry. In one source it says that she was she slave for the Prophet ﷺ, and in the second source it says that she was actually the lady of Rasulullah ﷺ. But as you know, she's not one of the famous ones, and even if she was the lady of Rasulullah ﷺ, so maybe most likely it was in weak narration, maybe, Wallahu Alam, or otherwise she would be very famous as being the wife of Rasul. But anyway, them are two narrations. In one, she did offer herself as a wife, okay, and in the second, she did offer herself as a she slave.
Do we know her position, like
her
position in the Jewish tribe? What was her position?
I couldn't find. I couldn't find.
And her age?
No, I didn't find nothing in there. Yeah. So her name is Rahana. So anyway, let's say that if because in the text it says that it was by herself. So because let's suppose that if she would be she slave for the Prophet, so by her choice, how it will be? Because if you remember in the story of Banu Mustalaq, okay, and in some other stories, some of the daughters of the leader of the tribe, she came to the Prophet saying that, Ya Rasulullah, actually I'm Muslimah, okay, as well as I am the she slave of so and Sahabi, and most likely it was Abu Qatada, as far as I remember. And then saying that we made an agreement with my master that if I will pay some certain amount of money, he will free me. Okay, so please, Ya Rasulullah, can you help me to free myself? So then Rasulullah offered to her saying, if you want, I can offer something better. She said, what is that, Ya Rasulullah? Rasulullah said, I will free you and I will marry you. And she was really happy. Okay, then she accepted that. Okay, so I think same thing happened to this lady also. Okay, so she came to the Prophet. Most likely she had a mukataba, agreement with her master, just to pay off some certain amount of money, and then after that she would be free. Okay, so then she did offer herself to Rasulullah, so Rasulullah bought her. As well as
How about some people from the tribe? Were they forced to migrate rather than being sold?
Sorry?
There's some of the members of this Jewish tribe. You said they were sent to Sham to be sold.
Yeah, yeah.
And were there some which were forced to migrate?
No. That was the very first one.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So because if you know there was 3 Jewish tribes, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So after the first tribe making some certain strange things, so Rasulullah ﷺ invaded in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then Rasulullah forced them to leave.
Okay.
Okay. So because they brought the enemy, Amara.
Mhm.
Okay. So but then it was to take revenge. It was an option, but Rasulullah didn't do that. But Rasulullah said, because you have broken an agreement, as well as you did support the enemies to come to invade, so now actually you have to leave.
Okay.
And Rasulullah gave an option of taking whatever they can lift.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it was more than just, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, more than justice, but it was the other story.
You know, this practice,
Hmm.
you can see that in some of the Islamic history later on, the Caliphs. It's amazing.
But the Islamophobic people, usually they don't focus, as you said, on you know, what was the consequences and what would happen on the other side. They just want to make it look like isolated thing, like Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he's just trying to, do you see, like, be aggressive, and they don't tell the whole story like you did.
Yeah,
You know, they're taking...
Exactly, yeah. And also, among them, if you remember, we did mention that only the soldiers were killed, except one lady. She was killed also, and her name is Bunana. Okay, why? Because she wanted to. She actually thrown. So it was as a revenge, because she thrown a big stone. Okay, on some Ansari called Khalad bin Suwaid. Okay, so it was actually as a revenge. Okay, so it was as a revenge from that lady, Bunana, so Jewish lady, Bunana al-Quradiyya.
Sheikh, I think that's a
Yeah.
very important point in apologetics, because mostly what I've heard the Muslims say, they don't stand firm on this point, but only the soldiers were killed. And they actually, even the Muslims are ignorant about this actually. They do say all of the men were killed, and then it's to do with Old Testament and all this stuff. So this is very important. But Muqatila...
Muqatila means soldiers.
Yeah, just for soldiers. So, in the first talk you made that point very clear, so that's very important.
So I mean, in terms of Khalad bin Suwaid, so he was just, do you know, it was, they were just behind the castle. Okay, so they were inside Banu Qurayza, and Muslims were outside. And Ansari was standing just underneath of the wall. Okay, so this Bunana lady brought big stone, and then she thrown. And that Ansari Sahaba was killed.
Oh right, he died. He was
killed. He was by big stone. Okay, so then in the murderer case, if the awliya of the killed person will come to ask for revenge, so then it is compulsory upon the judge to implement it. But if no one asks, so then judge doesn't have a right to do anything by himself.
Oh, okay.
So then the relatives of the Ansari Sahabi, Khalad bin Suwaid, they came asking for revenge from the Prophet. So they implemented that. So it was only the lady that has been killed. Okay, and it was as a revenge.
Revenge, so like recompensation, right? Like, you mean like qisas?
Yeah, qisas, yes.
Okay, there's also, can I say something?
Diya is totally different thing. So that is in non-deliberate murder. For example, let's suppose that I'm just walking and I didn't know that there was a baby. I stepped on the baby without intention. So I will not be killed, but I have to pay a money.
Feed, is that, what's that called?
That is diya.
Diya, okay.
Yeah.
So, you see, like, I just want to add one point. That you say, you know, in the First World War, like, the similar thing happened to Uthmani state. From inside, like, some, let's say, you know, Greeks and, you know, Armenians, they started rising up with the help of Russia and Britain, this, that. So when that happened, so Uthmani, they had to take strict measures. What they did is they forced Armenians to migrate, and those Armenians who, for example, were killed. So this was exactly taken from the practices of Prophet ﷺ from that time.
Okay.
So this is because nowadays they attack Uthmanis, saying that look, your Sharia that you are claiming is wrong. You see, you do massacres, this, that. But actually, it was the same practice from Prophet ﷺ done by Sultan Abdul Hamid. But people, as you say, Orientalists, they just want to make it as Muslims are massacres and all that sort of stuff. Same game, yeah.
Yes. So anyway, the whole story when that Sahabi was killed. So actually, because that lady thrown, do you know that crashing? What do they call the stone? Two stones. They crashed the.
I know what you mean, like
Mortar.
like a mortar, yeah.
Yeah. They crashed the wheat, barley.
Yeah.
So just she's thrown.
Grindstone.
Yeah,
Grindstone,
yeah. And after that, basically, some of the Sahaba went to inform the mother of the Sahabi, Khalad bin Suwaid. So then she came. Okay, she came wearing hijab, And when some of the people saw her, saying, how come that your kid is killed and you are still wearing scarf? Because in their culture, they would just destroy the scarf, So then she said that even if my even if I lost my son, I'm not going to lose my shame also. Okay, so then Rasulullah says that this Sahabi has been given the reward of 2 shuhada. Yeah, so it's, anyway, as well as 3 among them soldiers, actually they accepted Islam, so actually they have been left alone. So they haven't been killed.
So, sorry, even the Banu Qurayza fighters, 3 were left alone.
3 of them,
for converting to Islam.
Yeah. So they accepted Islam and they were left alone.
No punishment.
No punishment.
Okay.
No, they were, and also some of them. There was a person called Zubair bin Bata al-Quradi. Okay, so basically he made some certain. So he made some favor long ago in the time of Jahiliyyah to one of the Ansari Sahaba. Okay, so there was some group and they wanted to kill him. Okay, so the Sahabi's name is Thabit bin Qais bin Shammas. Okay, so then this Quradi person, Jewish person, and most likely he's one of the top leaders. His name is Zubair bin Bata al-Quradi. Okay, so then he gave him refuge. Okay, so he was left alone. And when the same thing, so in the incident of Banu Qurayza, so Zubair bin Bata, so the same person who gave refuge to Thabit bin Qais, he reminded. He said, do you remember I did do this favor to you? Okay, so then the Sahabi said, indeed I do remember. So then he said, now actually I want you to help me. Okay, and I found 2 narrations. In one narration, he actually gave refuge to him and to all of his kids also. But in the second narration, Zubair bin Bata, he said that I really don't want to live, but just give refuge to my kids. Okay, so it wasn't just kids, but it was just fighters. Okay, so they were left alone also. Okay, if you remember, Rasulullah in Fath Makkah, some lady Sahabiya said, I'm giving refuge to so on, so on, so on. Okay, so this information was brought to Rasulullah just to get it invalidated. Rasulullah did confirm it, saying even the smallest or youngest Muslim, he will give refuge, and that will be considered by Khalifa of Muslims. Okay, so that Thabit bin Qais al-Ansari, so he gave a refuge to the sons of Zubair bin Bata. Right. Okay, and they were fighters also. Okay, so they were left alone because Sahabi gave him refuge. So they were not, and so it's 2 narrations. In one narration, it's father and both of the sons, and in the second narration, only sons. And the father said, I don't want to stay alive, but just keep my sons. Okay, and they were fighters. They were not kids, but they were fighters actually. Okay, so they were left alone. Okay. And afterward, when that Sahabi was asked, why did you do that? Okay, so then he said, because he did a favor to me in the time of Jahiliyyah, so I did not like to be non-grateful. Okay, so that was the thing. Okay, so so I think maybe that was very, you can say, short points, some extra, and so that much should be enough, inshallah. And if there will be any questions, we may do the third part of the Banu Qurayza topic here.
Because usually they say if they do accept that the fighters were killed, which they try not to. But when and if they accept that, then they say, why did you send all these people into slavery? This is cruelty. You should give them dawah, make them Muslim. You know, why you sell them to buy weapons? So this
no. It's very understandable because, you know, can you imagine that when I'm coming to invade into your city, okay, so after finishing you off, all of the fighters, okay, I'm not going to give roses to your wives and to your mothers and sisters, you know. So it is just revenge, saying to them, you wanted to do this to me, but you lost, and I will do this to you, and it is good, you can say, warning for the rest of the people. Okay. So because you know, war is a war. You know, war is not a chess. After playing chess, you lost. Okay, I'm going back home. It's not that, because they were coming to do the same thing with my wife, with my daughter, sister, mother. Okay, so then basically their wives will be slaves. And the last time when I came, I did explain the rights of the she slaves in Islam. Do you remember? So it's not different from the wives of the Muslims, except if a husband wants to drop a semen outside, he doesn't have a right from his wife. But if it is with a she slave, he has a right to do so. So that's only the difference. And the rest, maintenance and other things, so all of them are just equal.
So the slavery is not like just whipping them and beating them and that sort of. They live exactly the same type of life as the master, right?
Exactly. So humiliation is not toward the slaves, but humiliation toward the soldiers.
Exactly.
Okay. Yes. So it is. I say, if you will be gentle, okay. So it gives good, you can say, reason for the rest of the enemies to come to invade. Because even when you are going to win, you are going to do nothing. So nothing to lose. You understand? Because
Islam,
in Quran, I'm really sorry. It is in Quran. Allah says, Allah after ordering for all of them revenge and all of them things, Allah said, حَتَّى تَضَعَ الْحَرْبُ أَوْزَارَهَا. So do it, so war will be finished. So there will not be any source or any reason or any thing to fight. Okay, حَتَّى تَضَعَ الْحَرْبُ. So for example, if let's suppose that some big army will come to invade to Britain, and they will be humiliated. They will lose again. They will be humiliated. So it will be good lesson for the rest to not to fight. Okay, so all of them things which, for example, Orientalists trying to show as violence and making up extra some fabricated stories. So all of them حتى تضع الحرب أوزارها, to stop the war. Okay. Yeah, so that's sorry?
So you need to, in order to reach peace, you have to take all the measures. If you just leave them in that city, they will go and look for revenge this time. It's gonna be again like havoc, chaos. There are like social, amendments and all that sort of stuff. They have to be justified. But